Hey guys, this video goes out to Mike Perry. So you need a coach, huh? So it's perfect that you're fighting a guy who's Robbie Lawler. That's basically a stand-up guy. I don't know if he used to be a wrestler or not. I don't know, but he likes to stand up. He likes to fight. Maybe he can wrestle. Who knows? I don't think it's going to matter because Mike Perry likes to box. He's a boxing kind of guy. So this is the perfect fight for him. So we're going to take a look at the absolute destruction of Robbie Lawler for the first two rounds against Rory McDonald. I know how this one turns out, but that's not what we care about, right? What we care about are the tactics and what's going on and yada yada. So, what's the first thing that Rory McDonald does when he comes out? He looks to control the space between him and Robbie Lawler by controlling that lead hand, right? If that lead hand has an opportunity or a direct line between his hand and Rory McDonald's chin, then he's going to be able to punch him. So by being able to control this space, he forces Robbie Lawler to have to change positions in order to make a strike, right? Transfer his weight from this centered position, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, into the front foot, throwing his straight left hand, right? Or changing positions so that he can throw the right hook. Now, what this does also is it allows him to manage Robbie Lawler's weight and keep him into a position in which he can land strikes, okay? Now, Robbie Lawler does land a counter, right? But he's getting feinted essentially into and walked into this straight right hand from Rory McDonald. And one of the reasons this is going to be such an effective tactic is because I don't want to say for all intents and purposes that Robbie Lawler is slow, but Robbie Lawler is slow. He is really slow and not conventionally, right? Speed is a product of your ability to transition positions, okay? Speed is an illusion, right? Speed is not, it's a lot of people think your hand speed, right? Being fast, changing position one time is where is what speed is, right? Being able to get your hand there quickly, but it's really just your ability to move through a position as we see Rory McDonald going from the back foot here to the front foot here, right? For all intents and purposes, this is a pretty quick weight transition. But that's not the reason why he's fast, right? Why he's beating him on the line. It's because he can get into a position here to control that space, boom, plant his foot, and make a strike all before Robbie Lawler gets his hook down, right? And that's what's really going on here, is while he's controlling him, he's able to change positions before Robbie Lawler is able to recognize what's going on and start landing his strikes, right? Getting into range. I don't really like that term. And then out of range, right? Even though he gets tapped by the hook, that's not what we're focusing on. So, controlling the space, right? And again, Robbie Lawler is really slow, okay? In this fight, in the first two rounds at least, Rory McDonald was able to control him and keep him at this range and land all kinds of blows, right? Landing the kick to the body. Oh, actually, this is a really important clip, okay? So here we have Rory McDonald, for whatever reason, sitting on the line, right, with Robbie Lawler. Now, Robbie Lawler's, he's not a bum, okay? It's not that he can't fight. It's just that he's so slow. Usually, Rory McDonald, by the time they get to this position, Rory McDonald is already striking Lawler, right? He's already landed a strike. But one thing I want you to notice about Robbie Lawler's rhythm, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? All of his weight transitions come at the same speed, the same rhythm, the same timing. And that's because he doesn't really have the ability to feint and change positions without throwing all of his power, right? He throws all of his power in all of his shots. And that's very likely the biggest reason why he struggled so much with Rory McDonald and Rory McDonald's ability to change positions so quickly and rapidly. As you can see, he gets on the line, boom, boom, kick, off the line. He's made 3 positional changes, all right, or 3 weight transitions during the course of Robbie Lawler's one step onto the line, right? Watch Robbie Lawler's weight transition, right? Back foot, front foot, and while Rory McDonald meets him on the line for the front foot, he's able to land a strike before Robbie Lawler's weight is able to get out of that zone, right? And one of the problems that Robbie Lawler has, even though he has good weight transitions, even though he has good technique on average, he has good technique, even though he has good positioning, He doesn't know how to slip punches and get off the line and punch at the same time. Now, one of the reasons for this is because Robbie Lawler sits in the center of his line so often, right? And as you can see here, controlling the space, and as Robbie Lawler takes that step to the front foot, instead of a leg kick coming, instead of a body kick coming, instead of a jab coming, Rory McDonald is able to slip to the front foot and throw a right hand, right? A sweeping right hand right on Robbie Lawler's chin. And again, this is because Robbie Lawler is slow, okay? He can make his first weight transition really quickly, but once he gets into that position, right, he's stuck. He's really slow. He's not very good at transitioning his weight again. So as he takes this step, that's all the time that Robbie Lawler needs to land this strike against him and continue not only controlling the space, but preventing Robbie Lawler from setting up his own attacks. And again, easy feinting with his right hand here, feint, and then walking him into a head kick. Now, the reason this is so effective is because of the fact that, again, Robbie Lawler is very bad at changing positions, okay? He doesn't change positions with punches. He doesn't change positions with feints and probes. He has almost no control of Rory McDonald. So he always has to react to the feints. So he's easily pushed off of his line by one feint here, and Rory McDonald is able to find his head with a kick as he's kind of pendulum stepping to the back foot, right? Front foot, back foot, pendulum step, and he's about to bring his weight to the front foot when Rory McDonald kicks him in the face, right? An excellent sequence from Rory McDonald, feinting with that shot, right? Pushing him off the line and then catching him with the kick. And granted, he blocks it. Sure, who cares? But the idea is that he's able to create enough space with his feints and his probes and his control of the lead hand that he can make these wild attacks against Robbie Lawler, and Robbie Lawler can't do anything, right? And again, that's because he is not very good with his positions. He's not very good when he gets feinted, right? He's not very good at like pull counter type motions. So again, control, one feint, Robbie Lawler overreacts and gets walked into a straight right hand. Now, I'm not sure if it lands, right? But 1, 2, right? It's just showing the idea here that the lead hand control is enough to keep Robbie Lawler on the line, and then one feint is enough to get him into the position you want to strike him. Again, Robbie Lawler is not very good at dealing with feints. He's not very quick at changing positions. Again, right down the pipe, right? Just controlling that space here, control that lead hand, and shoot that straight right hand right down the pipe. And again, Robbie Lawler has a very difficult time countering because he's not very good at changing positions, right? Look at him try to stay in this neutral zone, right? And this is one of the reasons why he's going to have a hard time. Well, he may have a hard time with Mike Perry, as Mike Perry hits really hard, right? This is to you, Mike Perry. But again, your position in the ring is defined by your head. And where your weight is going to be which leg your head is dominantly resting, right? Or where your weight is resting, right? And that'll be determined by whether it's the front foot or the back foot, right? And Robbie Lawler spends a lot of time trying to be in this neutral zone, not over either of those, right? Which is a very old school karate style fighting, because if you lean on the front foot, someone might kick you in the face, right? Now, that's very old school fighting, right? People have figured out rhythm and, timing and positions and that flow, and they can see kicks coming a little bit better. They have a little bit better control, a little bit better game plans, a little bit better fighting, right? Fighting is better now than it was, 200 or 500 or however many years karate is old, right? But Robbie Lawler loves to stay on that center line, right? Again, he's trying not to compromise his line because he doesn't know how to punch from position 1 or position 2. He doesn't know how to punch from those positions. He only knows how to punch into those positions, right? And again, one of the reasons why he's so bad at countering and why he's so easy to walk into these punches. Again, just constantly, right? Easy 1-2s. Again, Robbie Lawler has a very difficult time when you feint him and can push him off of his line. We're going to take a look at another clip of that. But again, controlling that space, boom. Now, again, Robbie Lawler likes to put all of his weight into his attacks. So when he throws this cross, even though he's playing the game correctly with Rory McDonald, he gets stuck on the line here and is very susceptible to that next attack because he's not very good at throwing one shot, then transferring his weight to the back foot, and then throwing the next shot. Notice when he throws that cross, his weight all get stuck on the front foot here because he's punching into the position instead of out of that position. So he's not even being able to take advantage of the fact that he's able to land this cross and should be safe from that straight left hand or that straight right hand from Rory McDonald. He should already be transferring his weight to his back leg, turning this hip this way through that cross, which will bring his head more down this zone away from him, away from Rory McDonald's straight right hand. But you see the position he's in here. After he throws that cross, right, his weight when he starts it should be here. His head should be near the front foot. And then when he brings it back, his waist should rotate. And then he should have his weight over his left leg instead of his right leg. But when he gets stuck on the line here, boom, it leaves him susceptible to counters. But again, Rory McDonald is Robbie Lawler is a one punch at a time kind of fighter, right? Look at him throw this cross again in the very next sequence, right? One punch at a time. And Rory McDonald's easily able to control him. I know he gets kind of touched right there, right? But he's not getting hit by any follow-ups, right? And if you're not setting your punches up, it's extremely difficult to land a really solid punch on someone. Now again, Robbie Lawler, not very fast, right? I know he lands these strikes, but Robbie Lawler has insane power, right? Or so people think. But if you force him to fight at a quicker pace, he's going to have to sacrifice so much of his technique that he's not going to have that same power, right? And that's exactly what Rory McDonald was able to do early in the fight by controlling that lead hand. Now again, Robbie Lawler's not out of the fight just because you can control his lead hand. He can still throw some punches, but look at how easy he is to read. And look at how wide he is with these shots. Not wide, but slow, right? In that rhythm, in that pace, right? Again, a one punch at a time fighter, right? He's supposed to be setting this straight left hand up with that hook, but he's so exaggerated and so much weight and so much of that power in that shot that Rory McDonald is easily able to get his hand up, and it looks like he's blocking that shot. I can't really tell, right? Can't really tell if he gets a piece of it or not. But either way, Rory McDonald is on his way off the line by the time that shot comes, right? So he's already changing positions, which means it's not going to be as hard of a shot as it would be if he just normally set the shot up. Now again, this clip is very important here. It's not like Robbie Lawler can't do this stuff. It's not that he can't, right? He's getting into these positions, but look at how he gets stuck on the line trying to throw all of his power in what should be a real quick, easy, straight left hand, right? Just quick tap and get off the line. But he gets stuck on the front foot there, and he gets stuck on the front foot here with his cross, right? Again, he's going to have a very difficult time, well, if Platinum Mike Perry can control the lead hand and make these kind of things predictable, right? So he can land his own strikes, right, on those same timings, right? But again, very limited of a striker, right? And again, I just wanted to highlight a little bit of Robbie's athleticism, right? Front foot, back foot, not really. Front foot, breaks his own line, shoots the jab, then he's supposed to go to the back foot, but he's able to change positions, but you can see the limit of his speed, right? Because this is him trying to set up. That's what he's trying to do here. But he's so slow because of the way that he exaggerates. And also, if you take a look at his footwork, he's always stepping with his weight transitions, right? Taking steps here, steps here, steps here. Never just transitioning his weight, feinting and probing, right? Whereas Rory McDonald will sit down on the line and control with his lead hands, right? And I know that clip is not highlighting that, but that's not what's going on here, right? Transitioning his weight on the line, whereas Robbie Lawler, again, is always trying to take steps. Now, this clip is another example of just one of the many, many, many attacks that are available to Mike Perry because of the limitations of Robbie Lawler's ability to transition his weight, right? Again, getting on the line, and when he takes those steps, it's like he's stuck in cement, right? Because of the way that he transitions his weight and gets on the line, he's just not always very quick. And I know that this fight is really old. Everyone might be saying that. But in the most recent loss, his most recent loss to Colby Covington, he had the exact same problem. Where even though he was slipping and rolling and doing all that fun stuff, he was so slow. He couldn't really change positions quickly as he went through those motions. So Colby Covington was still tagging him. And even worse, when he's being feinted and probed at, he has a hard time countering, right? He has a very difficult time getting his weight into punches when he's getting pushed off of his line defensively. So again, it's not like Robbie Lawler can't play this game, right? It's not like he doesn't know what's going on. But look what happens when he lands a strike. Boom. Now he throws that shot and he gets stuck on the line with Rory McDonald. Rory McDonald starts lighting him up. Slipping that shot, boom, boom, right? Because Robbie Lawler is a one-weight transition at a time fighter, right? He's not slow. It's always a fast weight transition, right? Like, that's not a slow punch, but he's not good at making his next move. Going from this position into his next attack, right? Throwing his right cross, right? Succinctly, fluidly, transitioning his weight from this position back to the back foot through that cross, right? Or through his 1-2. Now, we're going to end the film study on Robbie Lawler before we get into Mike Perry's fight with Jeff Neal. I know, bro, you about to get knocked out all over again, and I'm sorry. But it's important, okay? So, here we go. Tyron Woodley, one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC. You know, overrated. The fact that Wonderboy Thompson, you know, I don't know what happened in those fights, but I will be straight up. One of the funniest things I've ever heard was Tyron Woodley saying, all right, you guys want to show me how to do it? All right, time in. I'll tap out. I'll pause the fight. I'll tap out. You can come in and show me how to do it better. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And it's one of those like kind of reality check things, right? But the problem is, there are a lot of people that know how to do it better than you, Tyron. We see what you're doing, right? And just because you have worked hard to get to that position doesn't mean that we can't see what's going on in your fights, right? So what happened to Tyron Woodley is exactly what happened to Robbie Lawler in the first few rounds against Rory McDonald. It's the same. He got fainted into oblivion. And Usman did it to him, Gilbert Burns did it to him, and Colby Covington did it to him. And I actually thought that Woodley had a decent shot at beating Colby Covington, not because he's a better fighter than Covington. I think Covington's a really, really, really good fighter. Really good feinting and probing and weight management and ability to change positions and just let his attacks off, right? On his Wing Chun attacks, right? Not a lot of power, but he's able to move fluidly through the position. Anyway, getting into the positions, right? The problem that Robbie Lawler has, he overcommits to his weight transitions, right? So when he gets fainted, well, not just when he gets fainted, but when he punches and when he gets fainted or when he's defensive, he's looking to move all the way off the line here, right? So Tyron Woodley just has to feint him twice and then puts him into a position in which he's moving off of the line, not in a straight line, but he's not being defensively responsible, right? And it's very similar when you just move off the line, or when I was talking about it earlier, one of the things that Robbie Lawler does that's not good is he's always taking steps with his weight transitions, right? He's not slipping and staying on the line when he's getting feinted. He's not always controlling, even though he shows control here. And that means that he's not planted, right, by the time Woodley's attack actually comes, because he's trying to slip and take a step off of the line. But he's moving off of the line for a feint, not for Woodley's actual attack. So when Woodley comes in, even though he's not one of the greatest strikers in UFC, he's super overrated. He doesn't really know how to set up his punches very well, but he does get a good slip to the front foot here as he feints with the right hand, then feint with the left hand, and that draws out the control from Robbie Lawler. But again, Robbie Lawler commits to his feints. He commits to his probes because he doesn't know how to feint and probe. He doesn't know how to block punches or, move through the positions in which he can move in and out quickly, right? It's all power. It's all whatever. So he gets committed into controlling that lead hand from Tyron Woodley as Tyron Woodley moves to the back foot, and then Tyron Woodley breaks his own rhythm and then moves to the front foot through that same sequence. But if you can watch it, front, back, front, and he's able to feint Robbie Lawler into oblivion. Boom, boom, boom. And it is an excellent sequence here, an excellent knockout from Woodley. However, if you watch the rest of the fight, I mean, I know it's a quick knockout, right? But he doesn't do the best job being close to Robbie Lawler on the line, controlling him. There were a lot of opportunities for Robbie Lawler to, land his own strikes and feints and whatever. But, yeah. Anyway, now we're going to take a look at Mike Perry versus Jeff Neal. I'm sorry, bro. I know. But this is your last fight against a southpaw, right? And it's very important to analyze the technique and your positions and how your fight strategy, right? So, as you're coming forward, good range, right? Trying to pendulum step into this kick, right? So you're going to slip to the front foot, transfer your weight through your heel, then you're going to jump up. You're going to transfer your weight to your back leg at the same time that you're going to snap your hips to throw that left kick, right? And then getting your weight under your head, right? Because this is going to be your new position, hip, head, or knee, or foot head. And that's going to be what position you land in, right? Right under your foot. Just a quick tip, because that's where all your weight's going to be centered, under that new foot. So you can sharpen that up a little bit. But that's the strategy, right? You're going to cut the ring off by slipping to the outside of him, right? Look at all the space you have here. Good tactic. And that's going to allow you to get on the line with the leg kick and still be basically not in position for him to really counter, right? I mean, he could if he wanted to, but. So, what do we notice right here, though? You have no control over his lead hand, right? As Neal is meeting you on the line, okay? Now, that allows Neal to get his weight to the front foot, right? Now, that's bad because that means he's going to be able to throw his right hook with a good amount of power, right? It also means he's going to be able to, more often than not, slip to his front foot and throw his straight left hand. What is that also going to do? Well, the more that he's able to feint you with the straight left hand, the more he's going to be able to hide his left leg kick, right? Ooh, secret, right? Because he's able to get to the front foot. Now, this is exactly what Rory McDonald was preventing Robbie Lawler from doing by controlling that lead hand, keeping him on the back foot, not allowing him to be aggressive, right? Because being on the front foot allows you to have so many more feints, probes, and attacks against your opponent. Now, that means that Jeff Neal is going to be in a position as you meet him on the line to basically do whatever he wants, right? Now, good feint, cutting the ring off, right? Splitting his line here, right? He's about to cross the line. You have a massive opportunity to land a strike here. Meeting him on the line. As he feints forward, you slip your head off the line. Ooh, now, again, getting feinted and then walked into a head kick, right? This is really dangerous, okay? Now, again, if you're not controlling the lead hand, then he's going to be able to connect the line between your head, right? Let's go take a look at one of those clips from Rory McDonald in the beginning, right? Immediately, he's looking to control that lead hand of Robbie Lawler, right? And that means that Robbie Lawler's not going to be able to use his jab as just a jab. He's not going to be able to punch it straight through Rory McDonald's guard because his guard is also encapsulating in that lead hand control. So Robbie Lawler is going to have to use those more fancy crosses, right, that we see him using that occupy much of his line. Much of his feint or his probing ability is occupied by him getting to that front foot and throwing that cross, right? Let's see if we can find one of those clips just randomly. Oh, I think he's going to throw one here, right? So getting to the front foot here, right? Boom, and throwing that shot around the guard, right? But having to get to the front foot to throw his straight left hand, right? Having to get to the front foot, right? So that he can throw that cross. Again, all very important concepts as you move through your fight and the flow of the fight as you try to feint, probe, and alienate your opponent from the most advantageous positions and walk them into your punches, right? The positions that you want them in. So, immediately, right? Again, no control over that lead hand, right? And as Jeff Neal meets you on that line, it's much more difficult for you to anticipate him changing positions and throwing this straight left hand if you're not using your lead hand to control him, right? Now, for a lot of reasons, this is really important, okay? Because when you get on the front foot and you control that lead hand, it's also going to set up a reference point for you to make your next weight transition. Because right now, without being able to control him, without having a place to plant yourself and a place that you know that you want to be in the ring, you're just waiting for him, right? And that falls under the Robbie Lawler problem against Rory McDonald or more distinctly Tyron Woodley, right? As Tyron Woodley is able to feint him, right, into a position and then strike him, right, and land that right hand. So maintaining control of the lead hand is super important so that you can actually maintain control of your opponent's weight positions, right? So you'll understand when they look to change positions and land that straight left hand, right? And that's going to be something that's very important. Even in the straight left hands that Robbie Lawler did land, he's landing them on that very specific timing. So by creating that timing and creating that lead hand control with them, you can more anticipate when they're going to be transitioning their weight into those straight left hands or those crosses. Now coming out and feinting him here, controlling the lead hand, again, so you can move into this position and move out. Good weight management, good positions, and walking him into a body kick here. It doesn't look like you really set it up super well, so be careful, because especially if you're throwing that, which I would highly recommend against Robbie Lawler, throwing that shot at him. But controlling the lead hand first, right? So that you can occupy his guard and his weight, and then he can't counter you with this straight right hand, which is what I would expect from Robbie Lawler if you don't feint and probe him. He will be in position to counter you. This will also be super effective against Robbie Lawler. Your pendulum stepping kick here, very, very effective. If you can slip to the front foot and then control him with the right hand instead of just the left hand, right? As you cross the line, what you want to do, you set your weight down on this front foot, and then you're going to cross the line slowly, and you're going to try to get control of his lead glove with your right hand, right? And this is what I'm talking about as a reference point, right? This is going to allow you to cross his line, get your head to the outside of his head, right, on the same side as his left leg, and that way when you cross your head from here to here, you transfer your weight to the front foot. When you shuffle out of it, you're going to be able to get maximum rotation and maximum power out of your little shuffle kick here, right? As you lean on the front foot, right? That's what's going on here. And with your head, you're about to jump out of that position, swing, bring your right leg under you, and throw that kind of snapping pendulum kick. But if you use your right hand when you're leaning onto that front foot, right? You're leaning to the front foot here, and then before you leave this position, if you use your right hand to control his lead hand, right? Maybe you can push him to the back foot so that he's already being defensive before you wind up committing to the kick, right? So if you can get him to lean to his back foot, that means he's going to have a harder time making a counter, right? Especially in the case of Robbie Lawler, who always overcommits to his attacks, right? Or always overcommits to his weight management. Now, this is also an attack I think would be very effective against Robbie Lawler. Controlling the line. Ooh. But Jeff Neal, man, being so tall, he's going to have so much power in these kicks. That was just such a tough fight for you to have to take. I mean, not have to, but... Now, again, not controlling the lead hand, right? So look at what position he meets you on the line here. Right here, and then slipping into the front foot, right? Look at how all of his weight is here, okay? This is going to be the position that he looks to use to set up that left hand, but also that left head kick, right? As he throws this straight left hand, it's going to pass by your head here as you transition your weight to the back foot, particularly if you take a step here and then transfer your weight and your head over here when he feints you, right? But that pushes you to the back half of your line, right? Notice as he's attacking you with these boxing tactics, right? Feinting you, you're going to be, oh, exactly, right? See how you take that step to the side? Normally in boxing, that's great, right? It allows you to get off the line. But when he's feinting you with his right hand and pushing you in this direction, that's walking you into the leg kick or into the head kick with his left leg, right? So all he's trying to do is, herd you away from him, away from that side, right, where you're going to have lead foot dominance, and then walk you into that kick. Now, this motion here, right, controlling that lead hand, feinting, right, you finally get control, and he kicks you in the nuts a little bit. This timing here is the same, right? He's looking to set up and see if the head kick is open here, right? And that's what he's kind of figuring out, is that he does feel like, I think, that attack is going to be open. And again, this motion here, boom, pushing you to the back half of your line. And look at how you take that step, right? Like Robbie Lawler, when you exit the line, right? Overcommitting. So let's see when that happens, if that happens also while you're, when the actual attack comes that drops you, right? But again, notice how he's pushing you off of your line here. This steals all your opportunities to counter him, right? And those are going to be important opportunities for you in your fight against Lawler, or I don't know if you'll ever see this video. Who knows? But anyway, boom. Excellent body attack. Great positioning. Great peeling. And then he meets you on the line immediately with the straight left hand, right? And again, that shot's going to be more difficult to see coming if you're not anticipating meeting him on the line and controlling that lead hand, right? Because you're no longer going to be in range or in position when he gets in range to fight for his next weight transition, right? Again, a reference point for not only when you're coming into contact with your opponent, but what positions you're looking to move through, right? As you throw these shots and you can move, crossing the line, feinting and probing, whatever. But here you go, again, pushing you to the back half of your line really easily, right? And that's what walks you into that head kick. Again, ooh. So let's see, was that a jab? Boom, a quick feint, and then walked in right into the head kick. And now, let's take a look at what you were thinking. Let's see. It does look like you thought that it was going to be a double jab. So it looks like he comes forward, one, and then he starts... Oh, is he shooting a straight... No, yeah, he is feinting with the left hand. Oh my god, what am I even watching right now? So, 1, 2, and then it looks like you're trying to block it or get control of it and move to the back half of your line. And he walks you into the head kick, right? Now, let's take a look at the foot position. No, your arm moving into this one. Well, kind of. But anyway, again, it's really difficult to fight someone if you're not controlling that lead hand because he's feinting you easily twice here and then walking you into the head kick, right? But controlling the lead hand will give you much more control over when and how they manage their weight. And I think actually Robbie Lawler will be an excellent place for you to, if you want practice this or you want to practice this or learn this technique, because Robbie Lawler's freaking slow, man. He's really slow. His first weight transition is really fast, but if you're controlling him with the lead hand, you get to choose when his first weight transition is, right? Just like, whoops, I don't use the Pirates Bay. What am I looking for? Oh, so you can control and figure out when that first weight transition occurs, right? By choosing it, by controlling the lead hand, right? And forcing him to fight around that. Again, because he's not very good at changing positions. He's not very good at getting around the lead hand, right? Because he puts so much of his weight into each one of his weight transitions. Anyway, my prediction for the fight, well, I think it's going to be a tough fight for Mike Perry if he doesn't learn to control the lead hand, if he doesn't learn to get settled into his positions. But I do think his boxing on average is much better than Robbie Lawler's. Much, much, much better. And Mike Perry can crack. So I think he's going to have some good 1-2s. And I think that might, even if he doesn't do anything else well in the fight, just his 1-2s might be enough to beat Robbie Lawler, as we saw with Tyron Woodley, right? Just a 1, just a 2, right? Well, actually, it's a 2-1-2, right? Feint with a 2, feint with the 1, as you pendulum step and cross the line and change positions and advance, all with these super high-level tactics, right? With the footwork, and then throws a basic straight right hand and knocks him out, basically, right? But very simple tactics. Robbie Lawler's slow, right? He's slow on the line. Yeah, so I guess I'm going with Mike Perry no matter what. But if he uses some of the tactics of lead hand control, he will absolutely destroy Robbie Lawler. He has much more power and much more, not as technical as Rory McDonald is here, but much more power, right? And much more punishing for making the mistakes that he makes against Rory McDonald, right? Or much more punishing for not being able to anticipate or box as well. Anyway, for all you guys on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in learning any of these tactics I do coaching on my Patreon. If you guys are interested, I'm subscribed. I don't know if you guys can see my subscriptions, but I'm subscribed to a bunch of my patrons. They post videos on YouTube, and then I deconstruct them and teach them how to better manage their weight, how to change positions, coach them on, we've been doing a lot of, so one of my fighters was involved in a regional tournament, so we've been breaking down his fights and some of his fellow fighters' fights in the amateurs, talking about, how to use my personal boxing theory in the amateurs, and going through it and having a great time. There are also several people who like to fight and are looking to compete in MMA, learning striking, learning, rhythm and timing and, all those fun things, and learning how to manage their weight better. And in boxing and in all martial arts, you guys, the first step is learning to control yourself, learning your positions, learning to manage your weight, and learning how to throw all the punches, throw all the feints, do all the rolls and the slips. And it's not that hard. It's incredibly hard. It's not that hard. It takes a little bit of time and practice. So it's not hard. But the second step, after you learn how to control and manage your own body and control and manage your own weight, the second step in becoming a great fighter or a good fighter or any kind of fighter at all is learning how to control and manage your opponent's weight. Learning how to use your tools, your feints, your probes, your positioning to feint and probe and move your opponent into positions in which you are more able to strike them and they are less able to strike you. More importantly, less able to anticipate when you are going to strike them. Anyway, if you guys are interested and you want to check out my Patreon, it's $20 a month. $20 to sign up, $20 a month. And some of the rules, if you guys are sending in video requests, I do video requests all the time. So if you guys want a particular fight broken down, this and that, you want to send in your jump rope video, your heavy bag video, your shadow boxing video, your double end bag video, your sparring video, your speed bag video, and you want to see what the next step is for you using any of these tools. The only rule is that you have to send in a 3-minute jump rope video accompanying your request. My personal boxing theory, and Roger Mayweather agrees. Mikey Garcia doesn't. That's why he got fucking scraped by Errol Spence. And why he's going to get dominated by Pacquiao too. But jumping rope is one of the most essential, or the jump rope is one of the most essential tools you have in boxing. There's a commonality in people's ability to transition their weight and change positions, right? Being able to change positions is the most important part of being a combat sports athlete. As Robbie Lawler has shown us, in the beginning of combat, it was important to be able to have one good weight transition, right? You had to have one good left hand, one good left cross, one good right hook, and having that one punch be good enough. Or having that one punch was good enough. And as we see here with Rory McDonald's showing that the ability to transition your weight and change positions quickly is more important than having a super dominant, powerful one-punch strike, right? Or ability to cross your line with maximum power. It's more important to be able to cross your line with feints and probes to augment not only your position in the ring, but augment your opponent's position in the ring to put them in position for you to land a more detrimental strike. Now, where was I going with that? Anyway, if you want to learn to manage your weight better, check out my Patreon. We have all kinds of videos, and my personal theory is that there's no tool better than the jump rope at helping you learn to manage your weight, right? The hands down, the most important skill in all of combat sports, learning to manage your weight, learning your positions, right? But learning where your weight is and how to get your weight from one spot to another. Anyway, thanks, guys.